One of the biggest wins in gaming just happened. EA, one of the most absolutely hated companies in gaming, and for very good reason, by the way. A lot of people blame Bethesda for horse armor, but the truth is, EA actually was first to make DLCs and loot boxes an actual thing. Oh, yes, and EA is finally getting destroyed as they deserve, as they 100% deserve, because they just came out and said, yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard literally sold 0 copies effectively. And I know, boys, pat yourselves on the back. We are smart, we did it, we predicted it. I called it. Most of you understood and also called it. The Dragon Age Veilguard is an absolute joke, an absolute disaster. Sells no copies, and only the people on Twitter, who, by the way, did not buy the game because the woke crowd doesn't actually support their modern gaming bonanzas. And they just were on Twitter saying, "Oh no, look at this! Look at this game with 5 people in it. It's really successful. Go woke. Oh, what's that? Chud, you're right now." Now, obviously, they lied. These people are insane on Twitter, okay? The funniest part, by the way, is if you try to interact, which I did try to do that on Twitter because it was funny and actually got a lot of views and whatnot. They just block you. They just hide your comments because they don't want to engage. They don't want to answer questions because the moment you ask questions or try to answer questions from their side, your narrative just breaks. How is Dragon Age Veilguard good if it only sold 1 million copies when the previous Dragon Age sold 15 million copies? They don't know. They can't answer because their whole life is just based off of lies. 10 out of 10.
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we can finally put a lid on Dragon Age the Veilguard because EA has come out and officially confirmed just how bad this game performed, and it was quite the flop. It was such a flop that investors right now are panicking and pulling out of this company because of how much carnage this caused to the company. Now anyone...
Okay, one thing about EA that actually shocked me was I thought EA is gonna have to do something with GTA 6 because historically EA actually had things to do with Rockstar and GTA and whatnot, but turns out EA does not have anything to do with GTA 6, you pointed out, and you were right, I checked that, and EA has nothing. Which means EA's money is running out because they are sponsoring trash after disaster after disaster after monetary failure. EA's biggest breadwinner is EA Sports, and that's going the way of the dodo because they can't even... They're no longer... I don't know how it's going on currently, but last thing I heard, they can't even make FIFA games anymore because, yeah, license revoked. Ain't that sad? Yeah, and EA's biggest amount of money has always typically been from, just sports fans who buy hundreds of dollars worth of packs just to do the same thing next year. Wild. Also, I'm gonna sneeze.
Anyone with eyes knew this game was a gigantic flop, but having confirmation is nice, of course. And you can see, just 3 months since release, it
did not.
It's down to 3,600 in-game players, a number that is abysmally low for a company like this that had so much invested into this beloved IP, including a massive budget on their game. This is not a good number for them whatsoever. And on top of that, you look at...
I can bet you have some woke person on Twitter currently saying, well, actually, 3,000 players is still very commendable. God. Dude, the fact that they just lie so blatantly that they're never gonna explain why that's true, why something's not. They just lie. They just go on Twitter and lie.
Look at the charts. I mean, this is just your classic flop, right? The peak number was not good for the expectations, and then it just slowly flatlined, and that's it. So nobody's really surprised when you see the headline here that's been passed around. Dragon Age the Veilguard reportedly missed EA's expectations by 50% with around 1.5 million players.
Now, by the way, we have had a lot of numbers thrown around about Veilguard, and yeah, for the past two weeks I have all calling all them bullshit because they just don't add up. From a financial point of view, they just don't add up. I'm not looking this as anything but a finance guy, okay? And you have a franchise that previously sold 10 to 15 million copies, and now your expectation of success is 8 million copies? Your grand comeback? Sorry, did you make this game for 50 million or something? Did you make this game? Because there is no world where Dragon Age Veilguard cost less to develop than 250 million. No world where it costs less to make than 250 million. Most likely, Dragon Age Veilguard as the comeback of BioWare was in the range of 300 to 400 million. Easily 400 million, probably, with every cost factored in and whatnot. And it just didn't work. They went on sale like not even a month in. It's... No. These numbers must be fake. There is no world... the initial numbers that we heard seemed a little bit better because it claimed that 15% of the sales is 1.5 million, which means that they actually were looking for somewhere around 10 million sales, which I said actually probably is roughly the target. That 7+ million sales is most likely the target because most likely only if we're super lucky and this game was made on pennies, 4 million sales would have been break even. Most likely minimum 5 to 6 million sales need to be made for this to be break even. So 7 million sales would be actually reasonable for them in the first month, and after, a couple of years go by, and they have like 10+ million sales. But obviously, that sounds reasonable from every number that we have seen, because these numbers don't exist in the vacuum. They need to follow certain percentile increases and whatnot, and all of that makes sense. The idea that you're trying to sell me that, we just wanted 3 million sales is complete bull. It cannot be so low. Anything under 5 is just flat out not even close to acceptable.
Now, as soon as I saw this...
And again, not that 5 million would even be acceptable for BioWare.
This Bloomberg link here, I immediately thought of Jason Schreier. He is the person who writes the articles
Good
for
old
gaming-related
Jason
news
Schreier
over there at Bloomberg, and he is the one who is not only very woke, but he tried to back this game, and on day one of...
Yep. Yeah, go woke, go. This is, by the way, exactly what I was referencing. I was referencing Jason Schreier. These people are such losers, and look at that. I actually don't like the game very much, but I do like seeing you chuds get dunked on. Well, the chud's officially not dunked on. Range.
Of release, he said this: "Go woke, go top the charts." Now, unfortunately, that was a very poorly timed tweet. He also had the wrong chart. Like,
by the way, he tried to lie here, and because you see, the Steam top sales, well, it kind of matters when things release. Dragon Age Veilguard released at a time when, well, literally nothing else actually was in release. It had no competition, and it couldn't manage the top charts.
But down here you can see how this guy actually acts. "There's no way you genuinely like this turd." And he replies saying, "I actually don't like the game very much, but I do like seeing you chuds get dunked on."
Delete the tweet.
He would delete this entire thing. And also imagine being a guy who's like in his 50s, unironically calling gamers chuds on...
I don't know. I like when people call me a chud out of hate. So, well, also a Nazi, bigot, misogynist, a lot of things. That gives me power. I like it.
Social media, like, absolutely embarrassing. But here's the article, as you can see, written by Jason Schreier. At this point, I'm convinced it's like a humiliation ritual, making him basically post his own L's. It's kind of poetic if you think about it. But as you can see, I have no access to this article because they put it behind a paywall. Like, imagine paywalling this shit. There's no way I'm giving any money to Bloomberg of all people. So I'll do their job for them and just do the basic research that's required to understand the situation. So posted on EA's own website here, you can see they had their pre-announcement of their preliminary Q3 2025 financial results here. And it begins off by saying this: EA's initial guidance for fiscal year 2025 anticipated mid-single-digit growth in live services net bookings. However, the company now projects
every company anticipates mid-single-digit growth. And it's actually not even mid. They're all aiming for 3 to 5% growth, and that's fucking it, by the way. Sometimes even less is acceptable. Again, all these people from these companies, they don't care about making games. They just care about their stock price slowly going up, because that means they're getting the rewards, they're getting the bonuses, they're getting all of that. If something goes up like this and then drops, they don't get their bonus next year. It's as simple as that.
Projects a mid-single-digit decline, with global football accounting for the majority of the change. So they're having really two pain spots to clarify here. It's EA Sports and also Dragon Age. But they continue on. Global football had experienced 2 consecutive fiscal years of double-digit net bookings growth. However, the franchise experienced a slowdown as early momentum in the fiscal third quarter did not sustain through to the end. As a result, EA revises its outlook for global football to end the fiscal year down mid-single digit at the midpoint of the new outlet. Separately, Dragon Age engaged approximately 1.5 million players during the quarter, down nearly 50% from the company's expectations. And this is not only a shocking level of failure for them.
By the way, something strange here slightly, because companies do predict their results 1 year in advance. Just saying, I have done that multiple times. It's not even actually that fucking hard. It actually roughly takes less than a day's work to predict a company's future year results. So this is not actually that strange, but it's strange that they talk about it in this sense. It would make a lot more sense to talk about 2024, honestly, when you're talking about Dragon Age and whatnot. Interesting. They're definitely hiding something. Because again, this is a very, very roundabout way, theoretically, to just say Dragon Age Veilguard bad. Money lost. Okay? Yeah, usually you take it a little bit more on the chin, but say, don't worry, it's fine. Still not a problem because we cooking. Which is typically a lie, but I mean, that's just a default thing that gets put at the end of every sentence at this point in companies. But yeah, the way that they are talking about the predictions for 2025 is kind of strange. Maybe that there is one reason they actually could legitimately mention this and instead of actually concentrating on 2024 is the fact, but it's hard to believe, that the EA actually thought that Dragon Age Veilguard is going to be like, whoa, massive. Because these results, these predictions that get done for the next year or even 2 years into the future, because if you're BS predicting 1 year in the future, you might as well predict 2. And by the way, yes, BS predictions. These predictions are all BS. Okay? And if you actually go in and change it, because all of these predictions are legit and they are used as guidelines for things to come and what needs to actually change, make more money and whatnot if it's not, in the year that actually happens, means that the only reasonable way that they are doing this, if they really expected Dragon Age Veilguard to be huge, to actually be a success, just fucking wild. Dude, imagine ironically expecting Dragon Age Veilguard to be a success. Man.
It also confirms The inside source that Smash JT reported on a few weeks ago, he claimed from the source that they sold around 1.5 million copies at that point. And guess what? Another Chud conspiracy turned.
But that 1.5 million mark was estimated by me, and some other people also talked about it. Now I don't know if that was an inside source, but yeah, estimations was 1.2, 1.3, maybe 1.5 million. That was my personal estimation, seeing how everything's happening.
Chud fact.
Again, I'm working from a formula that actually, I'm working from a formula that involves Steam numbers, Steam player base, Steam likes, and a lot of other things like that.
Okay, people were saying that was made up, and as they always do with these insiders sharing information to YouTubers, but as normal, turns out to be right. And that number is cooked. Okay, and as they said here, it was down nearly 50% from the company's expectations over that time. And we're talking, as a result, millions and millions, possibly $100+ million short of their expectations. This is a spectacular failure of a game. And you know what happens next when you have this sort of a report coming out, basically prepping the disappointment of.
I was gonna say, when are you gonna show the shots, my dude?
The official report. Shareholders said, "I'm out," and rightfully so. It has been
boom. Oh, by the way, I'm not gonna give financial advice, but this is a good graph because all of them follow the exact same principle.
A bloodbath over the past day or so, where the stock dropped 18% in one day. That is cataclysmic. And if you,
by the way, EA stock, I don't remember if when I look. Oh, let's look at it. EA Games stock. Let's see. Oh, it's actually exactly. Oh, because trading's okay. That is the previous close that he's talking about. Let's see EA's maximum. Yeah, EA stock has always been just shocking to me, honestly. It became really big at 2014, and then it kind of just... It's literally like meandering about almost the exact same limits for like... I don't know, the past like 7 years, which is wild. EA stock not moving means that, I mean, bad things could happen really easily, and this is not even the bad thing that I'm thinking about. I am currently kind of predicting EA, if they don't get a huge hit, I'm predicting EA to go the way of Ubisoft in the next 3 years. Maybe 2 even.
You see, you look at the 6 month, or you use the year to date to give you a better idea.
Well, Ubisoft's gonna shut down, literally, probably. But EA is... Well, they're not gonna shut down, but they're gonna be a shadow of what they once were.
That's how bad the drop-off is. Pretty consistent throughout the year, and then this massive decline. That is really, really bad.
Actually, you pressed year to date. And that's 20 days. I mean, it's true, it's consistent.
Yeah, this isn't like some situation where the stock goes down a few points. It was like with like Any Color and Niji Sanji, you know, when all the drama was happening last year. People would see like a little fall, like 3-4%, like, oh my god, they're finished, they're cooked. No, this is cooked. This is really bad. 18%
Not really.
In one day.
I didn't show you the graph, but again, it's not like EA has a situation like this for the first time.
Is a wild drop off. People have lost all faith in EA, and primarily it has to do with the failure of Dragon Age. And of course, people are making memes of this already.
No, over-exaggerated, sadly. But again, I see EA struggling extremely and becoming irrelevant in like 3 years too, if we're lucky.
Ready? This person saying, "What happened, Jason?" That's brutal. But yeah, let's talk about Dragon Age one more time here, just to really hammer this home. The reason this game failed is for pretty obvious reasons. It's filled with agenda pushing. It pushed its luck with a beloved franchise, expecting people to just buy the slop just because they've liked the previous titles. And I think the disconnect between the gaming industry and gamers has never been more clear than the reaction to this game. You can see the Metascore was generally favorable with an 82. The user score is generally unfavorable with a 3.9. There is no other way to clearly show the disconnect between the two, and it's never been so obvious. And at some point, the industry has to start listening, and unfortunately for a lot of them, it might be too late. I mean, BioWare is in big trouble. EA was
Oh! My next video after this is literally reading this article. I mean, is it my fault that women ruin everything almost nowadays? Oh, let's just put in women in high positions that require skill smarts just because they're women and we don't have enough of them in places. Bruv. Yeah, this is gonna be a doozy. Anyway, that was Rev Says This, who 10 out of 10. Bye.